Welcome to Hort Culture, where a group of extension professionals and plant people talk about the business, production, and joy of planting seeds and helping them grow. Join us as we explore the culture of horticulture.
I'm not sure I'll ever get used to hearing my own voice.
You sound so
I'm on
professional.
there like, is that what I sound like?
Yeah.
That's my customer service voice.
Yes.
Well, before we get into our, question of the day, and I promise, as usual, it is snack focused. We do have a guest on today. So Kayla, give just a real quick little, who are you, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm Kayla Preston. I work with Grow Appalachia out of Berea, Kentucky.
Awesome. Perfect. And
Great.
we are excited to talk all things high tunnels and Eastern Kentucky and Grow App and all that good stuff today. But first, Kayla, I need to know. We're approaching summer. We're approaching craziness where we're kind of all running around like crazy. And, we're lucky if we're eating any frozen pizza or ramen noodles, at least in my house. What is your go-to snack of choice for the hot summer months?
Fruit. Cold fruit. Keeping it in a cooler, working outside is, as we all know, very hot and can be long days. And so, yeah, cold apple or some cold grapes, berries. Yeah,
Love it.
fruit.
Love it. Love it. The amount of watermelon I consume in a sitting when it's hot outside is like it's like just roll me out the door at that point. I'm just sloshing around. Jessica, what's your go-to walking out the door snack?
I'm trying to think because in my mind, I'm in full mom mode, right, in my life right now. So just leaving the house the other day, I was like, okay, I got enough applesauce for all three kids because the baby can eat food now, right? So it's got applesauce packed, got crackers packed, cheese and crackers, your nabs, right? Have those packed ready to go. But also probably just lots of fruit and getting ready for the watermelons and all of those because there's nothing more refreshing it's been in the refrigerator and it's ice cold.
I just stand in the light of the fridge, just shoving watermelon into my mouth.
Right.
I'm just gross. My those of you who have been listening for a while know I have what I call my walking snacks, which is,
that's all I could think about when you started this question, by the way.
It's my walking snacks. My walking snacks. I have various walking snacks. My current walking snack of choice is a clementine, a cutie, because I can just easily grab it and walk and peel it, and what my household fondly refers to as boat crackers, which have nothing to do with the cracker itself, but they are the crackers that I will always find on the boat during any point in time. And they're just like the cheese and peanut butter crackers.
The nabs,
that's all they are.
right? Yeah. That's what we call in our house.
We just call them the boat crackers, and we all know what that means in the Sheffield house. So, but yeah, I've been stealing the boat crackers that haven't yet made it out to the boat, and they keep having to be refurbished before they get into the boat because I've been taking them as my walking snacks. But that's fine. It's gonna be great. I'm not ever in trouble for eating all the boat snacks before they get to the boat, but. We're not here to talk about boats and snacks, although some of you may be here for the snack ideas. I always get good ideas from our guests about what snacks I should be eating. But we're actually going to talk a little bit about Grow Appalachia and some of the early days and all the things you guys have been up to, because I think I know I have recently learned a little bit, and I'm excited to know a little bit more. It's like I jumped into Grow App into a project, and I'm like, wait, y'all do so much stuff. So Kayla,
right. I've always been impressed too because I know I've had one idea about what you all did, but then have slowly discovered how many things you guys are tied to.
Yes.
So I'm excited to hear today too.
It is quite complex, and it can also be very complicated to explain. So hopefully I can explain to you all to my best abilities with, concise.
We got 40 minutes to hash it out.
That's just like extension. That's exactly the definition of explaining
telling somebody
extension.
You're an extension agent, they look at you just dead-eyed.
Right. And you could say, oh, Grow Appalachia. Well, I'm probably growing something in Appalachia, right? And so
and
we thought it was a great name then, but no, it still is an awesome name. And I'm thrilled to be a part of our organization and share a little bit with you all of what you all want to hear.
Yeah. Well, tell us about kind of a little bit of the origin story of Grow App.
Yeah. So Grow Appalachia started about 15 years ago. Our founder, David Cook, was a actual or a extension agent in West Virginia, and just saw a need for a different type of organization to continue to help farmers with either something as small as a backyard scale all the way into commodity. And so that's kind of how Grow Appalachia started. We are an outreach program of Berea College, and we've been a program of the college for many, many years now, almost since day one. Even when he was early thinking on, back in 2005, I guess, or however many years ago that was. But I'm sure he was. I'm sure it was his little thought baby, his brain baby, for a very long time before it actually happened. But yeah, I mean that's the rough gist of how Grow Appalachia started. And then our main focus when we first got started was our gardening program, and so that's how we've become such a wide organization, is because we are actually. Our program is in many different communities in Eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, all of Appalachia, Virginia, Tennessee, Ohio. We've had garden grant partners in many different states. But mainly what that is, it's a garden program for the community. And so we find somebody in that community that's already working with a nonprofit or a church or affiliated in some way like that, or food bank, something like that, they're able to apply for our funding. And then they are the ones that are teaching their community members how to grow the food, how to plant it, how to harvest it. And then obviously with all of that, when you're hanging out in the classroom, you get to talk to your neighbors that you may have never known that they're growing food too. And then, that turns into both of you all setting up at the farmer's market, and then you're selling to the stores and so on and so forth. And so that's really kind of how we started. And then over, the past decade, we've dove into high tunnels. We've dove into social enterprise. We've dove into technical assistance for farmers directly one-on-one, beginning farmer programming. So we also focus a lot on new and beginning farmers and making sure that they have what they need in order to become a bigger farmer with hopes to grow food. And so that was actually our main mission from day one, was just helping people grow food as much as they can in order for them to start selling it or sharing it with their community and continuing to build the economy that way.
Very cool. Aww. Yeah. A lot, kind of the different things you said as you were going through them, other things popped up. My main thing, I always think of you all associated with is, originally was just high tunnels. Right. So I know that'll be a big thing that we can discuss, is high tunnels. But then as the years went by, as my husband and I do produce, we're in Garrett County. All of a sudden they're like, oh, you have the option of being a Grow Appalachia, farmer as well. And so then there's that whole other now marketing side of it where, vendors being able to advertise their products.
Is that what
it is? Just like Kentucky Proud, but and I don't know if that is associated with you all, the Appalachia Proud. It's not, or
not necessarily. No, we would link up a farmer that would be interested in some sort of label or certification. We have those resources and that understanding of, okay, you need to contact X for Kentucky Proud. You need to contact this person for Appalachian Proud, and so on. And so we don't necessarily have a certificate by any means, but yes, we do have a lot of growers that are members in our gardening programs, but that's it.
Yeah, I think that's through KDA, the same as Kentucky Proud is. So it's sort of like extension is to Kentucky Proud, is Grow Appalachia is to Appalachian Proud. Send them in there, get them that marketing ticket. But the word Appalachia is is being, I feel like, used more frequently. It's like people are claiming it a lot more and just seeing the magic that is, the Appalachia region. And that's been good to see when it's done in a positive light.
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, so, Jessica brought up kind of the high tunnel landscape, and I know you all were a big proponent of that, of, building them and just I feel like we got to point out, and I'm sure you'll bring this up at some point, of just the specialty that is Eastern Kentucky farms and how different they are. Like, climate wise, one holler to the next is different. We experience that a little bit in Central Kentucky where, we've got some of these rolling hills, and probably Western Kentucky a little bit less. Maybe you get windier or something like that, but the temperature swing difference that can happen, as well as just like the soil texture is different. You're on a lot more slopes and what you can grow. When we have Ray on here, Ray is from Eastern Kentucky and in the hills, as he says, and reminds us that his grandmother never had electric or running water. So we say that he's actually from the 1800s and he's probably like a vampire, but
he's Peter Pan. He never, he never grows up.
Yep, exactly. He never grows up. But, he farmed with mules and did a lot of that kind of specialty stuff that Eastern Kentucky is just so different. And so an organization like yours is so important just because you all are seeing it, how to help these farmers with their specific needs, or backyard gardeners or whatever that is. You understand kind of their limitations, but also what makes them so special. And the wooded things that they can grow in the forest and all these different aspects of that. Sorry, I'm not trying to talk. I'm just so excited about my work with Grow Appalachia more recently has just made me even more excited about all the cool things out there. So I'm just like, it's all these cool things. Anyways, so Eastern Kentucky, so high tunnels really grew, and you all were a big, part of that sort of mission. So can you take us back to some of those kind of early days and sort of what was the landscape around season extension in Eastern Kentucky? Was it existing? What was going on?
Yeah, so David actually started, as I said, he was an extension agent, and he, as he was going to these different folks' farms, he would see some people using some cold frames, or maybe some people were using row cover, but really it was not a lot of folks doing it. And so he's a big researcher, so he was actually already reading, who knows where it come from, but reading about farmers in China and how they were using high tunnels. So how they were using season extension tools to widen out and expand their growing season, obviously to keep food on the table, to continue to sell it and make more money for the family and for the enterprise, the farm. And so during those researches, around that time, he was starting Grow Appalachia. And so there's this story that most folks know when we talk about our high tunnel enterprise, which is we used to bend our pipe on the back of the truck. We would bring the bender to the farm, to whoever's farm or whoever we were working with. And we would just have all the raw materials just literally thrown in the back of the truck, like you could imagine. And we would just slap that bender back into the hitch. It's just the Johnny's bender, from Johnny's Selected Seeds, which we were still using the day that we closed off the high tunnel manufacturing, which we can get into later. But yeah, we were kind of just bootstrapping it. We were figuring it out as we went. Now, David and Mark did sit down and they come up with the design. They looked at different styles of tunnels. Back then, it was mostly Quonsets. The Gothics really weren't a thing around here, and I don't think that and I wasn't around back then, but I don't think that they were available for purchase, for delivery. It just wasn't really that big of a thing until I think people started to realize all of the pros to Gothic structures, higher head clearance, sheds the snow better, et cetera, et cetera. And so, yeah, they weren't having to measure anything. They were literally just bending one stick of pipe, and that's what we're going with, type of thing. And so, but yeah, it was obviously a learning curve for them, but they were there with the farmer or with the organization. They were all learning it as they went. And that's kind of how it started. So we first got our couple tunnels out at Greenhouse 17, which then moved into Pine Mountain Settlement School, and then Laurel County African American Heritage Center. Those were our first three larger organizations that really adapted this high tunnel season extension tool. I really want to focus on saying it's a season extension tool, because I think a lot of, and we might get into this later, but a lot of folks that we work with, I don't think they fully understand what a high tunnel is or the purpose behind a high tunnel. And so obviously that turns into not understanding how to use the structure, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah. Well, and do you like have a like a thought about where that timeline of the sort of these NRCS equip tunnels like came in, and like what was your relationship with that program?
Yeah. So we started working with the USDA. It was around 2016 is when we established our social enterprise program, and the USDA had started, or the NRCS had started funding financial assistance funding high tunnels. I think it was at a much smaller rate, not as much money and funding going into the conservation side of that. But then once the Farm Bill hit in 2018 is when we really saw that big vamp. We saw wider outreach. We saw, like I used the word adapted earlier, we just started to notice that farmers were adapting, one, utilizing the USDA's funding, but also realizing like, hey, this farmer over here has got this tunnel and they've got tomatoes at the market 2 months before I do. Like, how did they do that? Or still have greens or salad throughout the winter. How are they doing that? And it's not because it's a heated greenhouse. It's because they were using a high tunnel and they were taught, or they knew how to use it properly. And so once that farm bill hit, I think how it went again. I was very new at that point. I was
Yeah, sure.
I
Give
was
us
only
your
part-time.
perspective.
I was only a part-time at that point, building structures solely. And so we started working out a partnership with the USDA. I think they kind of heard that we were building structures. We heard that they had some new
Funding
funds,
structures.
and so it was kind of like match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And so we really started focusing on high ton our manufacturing, really getting our kit down to the T, understanding, okay, we need X amount of tech screws for this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we really just started our own high tunnel business. I mean, really, that's kind of how it went. And luckily, with with the other, the other face, our other side, the USDA knew that we were an educator. They knew that we understood what farmers need in this region. They knew that we understood farming in this region. And so, we just started building kits and helping out their side to get these farmers taken care of, et cetera. And just started rolling with the program, and have over 180 tunnels out there in the world. We actually just came out with a high tunnel map that will soon be have it on our website, and so it'll actually have every single tunnel that we've ever built throughout the region.
It's very cool.
Down to the county, and so it'll be neat to see where we're heavily focused or why. And it's mostly because of the USDA funds. I mean, really, you can really tell that we're focused on the eastern side of the state because of RCPP Seek. Big thanks to USDA for helping us go throughout that process and carry out that program. And so ever since then, we've just kind of been alongside them and going forward.
Well, I'm sure they felt, I know if it were me, I would feel very lucky that I could have reached out to an organization like you, because, I think a lot of growers outside of Eastern Kentucky who got high tunnels sort of didn't know what they were doing. They were like, oh, here's free money. I'm going to make a bunch of money on this, and then had no idea what to grow, or, the challenges of a high tunnel and how different, you might have grown tomatoes for 20 years, but growing tomatoes in a high tunnel, very different experience.
Exactly.
And so,
yeah.
I think I have heard that a lot of them, until they, maybe if they didn't have someone in extension close to them that knew a lot about high tunnels, and of course none of us really did at the beginning, they're, feeling like they didn't have help. And so to have an organization like you in that area, I'm sure was like a breath of fresh air for them. They're like, oh, thank God they're taking care of that.
Yes. And just the help with, like, you're talking about, you guys became a very well-oiled machine with building, right? Like, that's huge, because there's so many people who want high tunnels, and then they can find where to purchase one. But then it comes down to, okay, am I going to try to put this together myself? Am I going to try to hire a company? Am I going to try to hire, who, is this somebody who can legit do it and they're going to get it done in a timely, you know,
Yeah.
within a good time frame? Or is this going to be a project that we're working on for several years to months, you know,
Absolutely.
to get it all together? And so that just even that is so valuable for people who are interested in putting one up.
Yeah, when I'm doing consulting with all farmers, that's number one question is, okay, do you actually have the time and the capacity to build this yourself? Do you have the tools? Do you have the help? And do you really back to the time thing? It's all about time and then the know-how. Like you said, the well-oiled machine, you know, Steph, my assistant, my lead, my co-brunt, you know, she's hard at it, and she and I have been doing it for years, and yeah, it's a well-oiled machine now. We know exactly what part of the process goes next, and we know what tool we need 5 steps beyond that step, and we know where to lay all the materials out. And so, yeah, it's been I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, and so yeah, it's part of my heart. It truly is. And I know it so well, and I'm really excited to continue to do it because we are going to continue to do consulting and even hands-on repairs. And yeah, we might get into that a little later, but our social enterprise is going to continue to help folks out with high tunnel maintenance and repairs.
Amazing.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is an ongoing, like, yes, you get it built, but there's, we'll bring that up later. I have my own personal questions.
Well, just, you know, the learning curves too, like as you've already mentioned, like so many people, I know Alexis probably knows some too from when she's a county agent. So many people got high tunnels, and then like you said, they don't know what to do with them, right? Or just like even the simplest things of like, we talk a lot about, people are like, I'm going to get a high tunnel and put something in there. And I'm like, well, you got to be around. Like on these cool days, it might be cool, but the sun is out all day. And if you're not there to open and close sides,
it's 95 degrees in there,
you know, just it's very like things after the fact. You're like, oh, duh, right?
It's
like it's going to get so hot, you know,
now.
but they don't have that experience. It's so having somebody like that to help with just even the simplest things.
Yeah, you know, and it comes with experience and exposure, really. Because if you've never been around one, or you don't know anybody that has one, you don't know that the tunnel should not be the 5 fields over, nowhere near your home. When, oh my gosh,
maybe you're going to be trucking out in the snow to clean that thing off.
And that's what I like to tell everybody is, you know, if I'm teaching a class, or if I'm just talking to somebody like you all, it's all about maintenance and taking care of it. I think people think it's a lot more passive. I mean, it is passively heated and passively solarized, although it's not a passive enterprise at all on the farm. If not, it is a big responsibility. Alexis, you have one yourself, right? So you know.
I have 2 and a propagation house that's basically a mini high tunnel, but I have all of my, I say all loosely, but I have all the automation I could afford. And I didn't put up a tunnel unless I could have automated sides and fans. So like I did, you know, if it meant I had to wait a year so that I could save money for it, I did that because I knew that I could not be out there with our weather. I mean, in the wintertime, you know, the sun comes in and out enough that it'll be 20 degrees and in an hour it'll be 85 degrees. And like, that's not an exaggeration. I mean, I know, you know, but for those of you listening who may not have that experience, you know, an hour can fry a crop.
And that is why I do not have one here at home or at work for a demo, just because of that. Because it is impressive how quickly they can heat up.
And it's just an additional skill set. On top of like knowing how to grow the food in there, you have to think about irrigation. Obviously, it's not raining in there, so you have to think about that. You got to understand
fertility.
And then soil health is a huge factor into high tunnels. Really, before the high tunnel's built, you want to be thinking about your soil health and thinking about what's been grown there or what's been built there before and all of that.
Oh, shoot. Don't get Jessica and I started on soil health. We'll never get out of here.
You know, resources. Is there a spigot nearby? What are you going to do if it's not raining? You know, you're going to have to water in there. And then electricity. Alexis, you said automation. That automatically means electric. And so there's all these site considerations and resource considerations that need to happen even before they're thinking about the size of the structure. You know, it's even prior to that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so, you know, you all have been building them, but I know also from experience, but there are more places that keep popping up that are building them. That was like one of my things too, is like, I'm not putting this baby up myself because I don't trust myself. And like, to your point, don't have the time. So there's been a lot of other, I say a lot, not nearly enough probably based on the wait lists that these groups have, but there are more places that are putting up these type of structures. And so, since you all have kind of been in the game since the get-go of this high tunnel boom, and for reference, I think we've mentioned on here before, Kentucky is number 2 as of 2026 or late 2025. Kentucky is number 2 in the nation for the amount of things in protected agriculture, for the amount of acres in protected agriculture, which you were second only to California, and not by much in comparison. We're way above a lot of other places, which is very unexpected because we're not nearly the biggest producers for veg and various things, but we have a lot of protected ag, and a big part of that has been these high tunnels and this equip and all of the work that you all did in Grow App. So anyways, how have you, I know you said you've not been here since the very beginning, but you've been involved long enough. You put up enough high tunnels to know kind of how this environment around high tunnels has changed, and the availability, and just sort of what that looks like today versus what you experienced before.
Yeah. So, how do I answer that best? Well, there was a gap that needed to be filled 15 years ago. There was no vendor, no manufacturer, and no installer building structures that would fit the needs of our farmers. Tiny backyards, ravines, like you said, holler to holler is going to change. And so that's why we actually designed our smaller structures. And we weren't competing. We've never really considered ourselves competitors against the larger vendors, your 30 by 96s, your connect 30 by 96 connected to a 30, we've never considered that. Really what we've considered ourselves is as educators mostly, but kind of just really also like to get our hands dirty. And so that's, we just said, why not? And the farmers needed it too. And that's what started the social enterprise, because there was a demand. Well, after a few years, more than a few, 5 or 6, 7, these are other Kentucky vendors, as you mentioned, that are a qualified vendor under USDA, are now building the size structures that we were building back then.
What are your all's preferred size structures?
15 foot by anything in a 4 foot increment. So 15 by 8. We have the tiniest structure right here in Berea. It's just a little shade house for the Berea Urban Farm to sell their propagated plants under. But we can go as long as 106 feet long. And so that's our standard size. But then over time, the other vendors were selling the same structures, and they have a full group that comes and installs. They're really good at providing the materials, that whatever's on that invoice, they're going to be bringing to you. Like, they're really good when it comes to that. They do a great install, and then they head out within the day and they get the job done. On the Grow Appalachia side of things, we don't have a large group of people that build the structures. It's just me and my assistant. And so it's just 2 people. And so it takes us a little bit longer. We're a nonprofit. So it's just,
you're also educating.
We're educating
with the farmer, hopefully,
and so
to put that up.
Exactly. And so
it's an experience more than just an item you pay for.
And I think, honestly, that's why a lot of people have chosen to go with our structures over the years, is because they're not just getting a rectangular structure put on their farm and that's it. No ties, no relationships, none of that. When you buy a tunnel from Grow Appalachia, you were buying a friendship. You were buying a partnership. You were, you know what I mean? Like, you get our
people
expertise.
that checked on you. And
you actually just become kind of part of the big Grow App community. Is that who we are, and what expertise we have on the staff. And so it kind of it worked out. But now that other vendors, we can actually just let that part of the enterprise go, have them continue to build a solid structure for a good price, and let us come in and actually educate around that structure. teaching them about the water catchment, about the drip irrigation, about soil health, about what to grow and what not to grow. We hook them up with folks like CCD and give them the high tunnel planting calendar. I mean, we are that, I call ourselves that middleman, that makes sure, like, yes, we're building the structure, but we don't have to just build a structure. We can actually sit there with you and talk to you and give you all the other organizations and entities that are available and how you can go get some funding for this particular project, or where you can find the best fertilizer, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of how we closed out the manufacturing.
That's how it all connects.
That's how it all connects, and it's a beautiful transition. And yes, I have been very sad about it, because it's like my baby.
Well,
I mean, I've been doing it for so long,
huge part of your life.
But we do see the need out there now, and that's what it is. We're never going to settle with what's just normal or what's there. We're always going to be looking for what is needed, and we're going to continue to provide and support that. And that's it. We will never allow for us to just sit there and let things be as they always have been. We were going to continue to listen and change as that happens. And as that need goes, that's where we're going to be.
Well, yeah, and as farming changes, you all are changing with it, and your boots on the ground in that way. And sometimes a little bit of a smaller organization that's able to be out there, and they can adapt a lot faster than the big blue machine can sometimes, although we do our best.
And you all do a great job as well. Absolutely. I've
not fishing for compliments there. Mostly I'm saying, I mean, we could do better.
I can't tell you how many times we've really been thankful to have you all as partners and just a support system over the years. So,
well, we're all in it to help the farmer. So however that gets done, for sure. Yep. So yeah, well, tell us about you. You mentioned you guys are kind of closing out the actual building part of it and focusing more on education. So what's that look like? What's the future? What's the dream?
Well, gosh, the dream, we would be here for days if I actually sat down and talked about our big dreams. But no, really what we're focusing on now is, well, Grow Appalachia as a whole, or the social enterprise?
Hey girl, whatever you want to give us.
Whatever you would like to share.
Listen.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so the social enterprise itself, I already mentioned that we do technical assistance around high tunnels. So we will help you. We will consult with you about what's wrong with your tunnel, what could be changed, how much this would cost to get the automated roll-up curtains. I mean, we really are there around the construction side of things. We're there for you around soil health. The social enterprise still has our online garden supplies catalog and or just our garden supplies in general. So, we're still distributing over 22,000 tons of fertilizer every year.
Wow.
We've got a whole slew of nice high quality materials, ground covers, row covers, insect nettings, etc., that people can just order from us. And that was another way that we saw what was needed and just followed through with it. We're like, okay, well, let's just start carrying materials because people can't afford the shipping. Let's be real. It's very expensive to ship ground cover and things like that.
And, taking a whole day to go drive, 2-3 hours to the closest produce place is, not a luxury every person has. Plus, you got to have a truck, you got to have all this stuff. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. And so we kind of just started doing that here. And so we'll continue to provide those materials. And I always like to tell folks, if you see something that you need that's not on our catalog, holler at us. We'll look into it. We'll probably put it in there.
Amazing. I just pulled it up. Again, something else I did not know that you all had or do. But this is awesome. All the different options you have.
And then, of course, you get our expertise alongside of that. So we can tell you the difference in Exclude Net and Protect Net and why you need one. And one takes out aphids and the other one, all these things. So the social enterprise, that's kind of that's going to be the bread and butter for the SE. We won't really be manufacturing. We will, and let me clarify, we are not manufacturing high tunnels and we are not installing high tunnel kits anymore. But what we will do is help you figure out what high tunnel you need, or if you need the big end wall or just your standard man door end wall, and what ventilation fans are and why are they different from circulation fans. Like we will really get into all of that stuff with you.
That's huge. Like that, I as someone who like was trained in this, still buying my first high tunnel was a nightmare. Like I was so worried I was going to make the wrong decision, and I was the person people came to ask those questions. So like,
yeah. So there's a huge need. And so we've recently gotten another partnership, the RCPP Sure with USDA. And so what that is around is us giving free technical assistance to any farmer that applies for that USDA RCPP financial assistance program, which is more than high tunnel. And so I wanted to clarify that too, is we are no longer just, well, Kayla and Steph are no longer doing technical assistance around high tunnels. We are not Mr. High Tunnel. We are anything from any conservation practice you can think of that's associated with the USDA. So fencing, water catchment off of just any roof, not just high tunnel specific. We can talk to you about cover cropping. I mean, really, we can go through all of those conservation practices and help you. We can help you even like apply. We can help you go through the application. It's just great. And so that's our new bread and butter. That's what myself and several of folks on staff are going to be focusing on these next few years. We've got it for 3 years. And so we'll keep pushing forward with that. But technical assistance, I mean, that's really what we thrive in. That's what we do well. And that's what we're going to continue to do is continue to share what we have learned by being in this industry for so long, or just ourselves personally. All of us are very passionate about growing food and, providing food for themselves or for the community. And so it's just it's kind of like a passion, but also we know that it's a need. And it's so clear. And luckily, there are a lot of other technical assistance organizations in Kentucky. Oak, I mean, they do awesome work. There's so many that I'm going to miss if I try to just explain all these folks. But we all know Kentucky's got such a robust program. I mean, the industry here in Kentucky, for the amount of organizations that we have, and I know you all know this stuff, but it's insane compared to our surrounding states. I mean, it's like, this is the best place to grow food because we have the most like technical assistance available. It's wild.
You don't really realize it until you, I've said this before, but like I never realize it. It's easy to like knock on, something you have. Well, we don't have this and they don't let us do this and blah, 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 blah. And then you step out into another state or talk to somebody else who maybe does a similar job to you, and they go, you have what? And I'm like, oh, yeah, actually we have a lot.
Or you talk to growers who've moved from other states and they start asking you questions about different like rules and regulations of things they can and can't have. And now you're just like, what do you mean you have to report that? Or like, what do you mean? Like, you can grow whatever you want. Like, obviously, right?
Any legal plant.
Legally. But yeah, it is. You don't know how good you have it, right? Until you go elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, okay. I have more technical questions. So, I said that we've got a lot of high tunnels. We've got a lot of protected ag. You yourself have put up what did you, 180?
I myself have only done 150.
Oh, well,
just
only 150.
Only.
Sorry, I had to make a joke there. Yeah, we have 188 in the field, in many fields.
And you have put up 150 of them. No big deal.
My body feels it. But I've loved the work. It's been so rewarding and so challenging at the same time. And I think that's just what makes me happy and makes me
keeps you coming back every
fulfilled.
day.
Huh? It's very fulfilling work, and working with folks like you all, and then really the farmers. I mean, our farmers are awesome around here. They are so innovative, so creative, so smart, and they do good work. I mean, it's so nice. Let's talk about how nice our farmers are too. But yeah.
Well, so I was gonna ask then. We have this sort of large group, at least 150 of growers who are kind of, they've had their tunnels for a while now, and maybe they're looking at stage 2 or something that they need to be doing, 5 years down the road or something. So what are your tips to those semi-experienced high tunnel growers that you would say, hey, start paying attention to this at this time?
Soil health. Please test your soil every year, maybe 2 times a year.
And what specifically should they be looking for?
I was like, salts.
Yeah,
That's
salinity.
Sodium.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you don't get the rainfall.
Yeah. The rain doesn't come in, it doesn't wash away the salts. The plants obviously are producing, and then that's what they are leaving in there. And so you've got to figure a way to flush that out. So yeah, that's top. And typically what I tell folks is, that plastic has about a 6 to 7 year warranty, depending on how tight it was pulled or whether trees, limbs,
how many holes you've poked in it.
Yeah, like all of that stuff. But yeah, typically what I tell folks is just once your plastic's looking really rough, you've lost growth, like it's obvious that your plants aren't growing as fast because the soil is an issue. And
you start to
also
see salt build up on the top of the soil.
The salt build up, the white crusty stuff. But yeah, your plastic starts to become refractive, and so it doesn't, or reflective, and so it doesn't go through, and so you're going to have to replace that anyway. And so I just tell folks to take that off and leave it off for a full season. I know it's hard to do because that's a lot of money, but think about how much money you might be losing little by year if you don't maintain that soil or the plastic.
Yeah. But most people by that point, they have the high tunnel bug and they've already put up a second one. So we can tell them to, or as one of my
I have to take my plastic off. My goal is
number 3.
Yeah.
So Alexis, what she's saying is you're taking yours off to also relieve it of pest pressures is what you're saying. Yeah, a healthy.
That's I'm looking forward to that because the pests they do be building up, and you think right, the doors are open, the sides are open. Like why would there's I see bugs in there, but it's not the same. There's like that pest pressure is just so different when it's just open completely to elements.
And
I am so scared about taking
this
plastic off. I don't know why. It's stressing me out in a way, but I'm going to do it by the end of the week.
It is really easy. Just make sure that the winds are not above 15 miles an hour when you're pulling it off. But yeah, all you really need
and use it to solarize something.
Yeah, that's what a lot of our folks do. All you need is a pair of needle nose pliers and a ladder, and you got it.
Okay,
that's
all right.
really
She's giving me strength,
and a nice new album that you want to listen to or a podcast. It's so easy. I'd be happy to talk to you more about it after this if you want.
I know that I've dealt with a lot of wiggle wire in my life, and also I own a box cutter. So either way, it'll get done. It's just like the action of going, oh wait, I'm taking this off and it's not going to be able to be used. It's very stressful.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But it's fine. Everything's going to be fine. We'll report back to those of you listening and give you strength if you have to do that to yourself here soon. And all of you who have a high tunnel will do it at one point. So I'll tell you.
Or you should.
Some tips. Or you should. You better. Because you better not be parking your tractor in there. You better be growing cool stuff. Or else. I live on threats. So, well, Kayla, this was awesome. And I think that we're going to definitely have you back to tell us all the cool stuff that you're doing with this new grant. We will make sure that we put Kayla's information, Grow App's information, all of that in our show notes. And you all can go check that out. And if you need some help, if you're in Eastern Kentucky, definitely give them a shout. Can always, of course, call Extension. If you're not in Eastern Kentucky and you're super jealous, I feel that. I love my county agent, Jessica, but she doesn't offer the things that Grow Up can. But anyways, if you need some help and you're not in Eastern Kentucky, please feel free to reach out to your county extension agent. And if they need help, they will reach out to us here on campus, CCD, our vegetable specialists, any of those awesome folks that we have, to make sure you're getting the help that you need. And who knows, I'll probably be calling Kayla up going, I'm sorry, walk me through this one more time. So
happy to do it for you and happy to do it for anybody else on the call.
I know.
Podcast.
I already got 2 people in mind that I'm going to be like, hey, let me tell you what I learned today. You need to get in contact with Grow Appalachia.
We also we also have a lot of good articles that we have pulled from our partners or other research institutions on our website, growappalachia.brea.edu, in our resource library. And so there's lots of education there. If you don't feel like calling me, there's also a lot of other stuff there.
Sometimes
we
I
also
just
have
don't want to
instructional
call.
YouTube videos on how to install high tunnels. That's fun. Just give me a call, give us a call, follow us, all of that jazz. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to share that. We do have an Instagram. If you all as in you listeners don't follow, at Hort Culture Podcast, and we will make sure to tag Grow App in the stuff that we post, so that you all can find them and follow along with all the cool stuff that they're doing, and maybe you can jump in and be a part of that community, because that's really what Grow App is. It sounds like is kind of just a community of folks who are wanting to grow stuff, and I think that's so awesome. But anyways, Kayla, we appreciate so much you being on. If you all have questions, if you all just want to tell Kayla how amazing she is, please leave a comment and give her 5 stars and be like, have Kayla on all the time because she's the best. Feel free to leave that comment. We're not saying you have to, but like if you don't, I mean, Kayla might be sad. I'm just saying. We appreciate you guys listening, and we hope that you will join us next time. Have a great one.